eat at that buffet if I saw that in the fish tank.
The logo button didn't work.
Oh.
See what happens? You're off for a week. No maintenance.
Where's our logo at? Oh, there you go. Oops. Feels longer than a week. It was a long week.
Yeah.
And we even came in a little hot, coming in surprise Monday night ambush. And it still feels like it's been a long week. And had the day off too.
Yep.
Man, a lot has happened in this period of time.
What have we missed? What's happened?
We got the Flash. The Flash is just going crazy on the internet. Where there's Team Pro Flash and Team Anti Flash that we have to talk about. We literally just walked out of a movie. This is a rare treat, a comedy in theaters. Even though it was a horror comedy, it was still a comedy. With the Blackening, coming off a surprise mini Joe Bob episode with Dead City last night, and trailers started dropping. We got our first Sony riding that into the across the Spider-Verse momentum and dropped Kraven the Hunter, and then Netflix Tadum account announced a Squid Game 2 with some casting announcements. I was like, okay, that's Corm. We gotta go. We don't want to fall too far behind. And this hot off the presses, Logan Paul is now officially in the Money in the Bank ladder match. That'll be happening Saturday, July 1st in London.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
He just announced it like 4 minutes ago. But he's getting a trip to London, and man, he is going to thrive in there. Expect, what is he going to do social media wise? He's going off the top of a ladder. I'm a little worried. You got to be careful. But guy's a pure athlete, but he's also a Jeff Hardy adrenaline junkie. I think he's going to try to do something with his phone off the top of the ladder through some kind of tables.
And create a TikTok of his finishing move?
Yeah.
Probably.
Which went nuts last time. I love Money in the Bank. What's up, Tubes? Good to see you again. I love the Money in the Bank pay-per-views. It really does really well.
Yeah.
And knowing
I've always liked them.
And going to be in London, we talked about this before. The international audiences love WWE. So I think the crowd is gonna be hot for that ladder match. And we're probably gonna get a third match in the Cody Rhodes Brock Lesnar trilogy maybe, or they might save it for SummerSlam. I don't know. But you don't really need any marquee matches when you have 2 ladder matches with the ladies and the men. So I think that's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that one. That's on Saturday, July 1st in London at the O2.
I haven't been following WWE, but I do want to see that. That sounds good. I told you I saw Collision. It was okay.
Oh, yeah, we were going to talk about that too. Yeah, the return of CM Punk. Did you notice something, though? I think he really was concerned that even in Chicago he was going to get booed, but they didn't boo him at all.
Nah.
They didn't boo him at all, but he came out. You can tell his guns were loaded, and he was ready to turn heel if he needed to. And then he just completely reversed course. And even when
Is that what happened? It did have an awkward energy.
Yeah, because
he was ready to turn heel. He thought the crowd was going to turn on him.
Yeah, he thought the crowd was going to turn on him because he literally. I saw on Twitter afterwards. He's like, everybody's been telling me that I'm so hated, so I think he was ready to turn heel. There's no way he's going to get booed in Chicago. I wouldn't want to be the Elite in Chicago, which the rumor is now that they're going to put Punk on Dynamite for this Wednesday because they are in Chicago, and then just keep the Elite off because I think the Elite are going to get booed out of that building.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. He only took one shot, and it was a approved shot when he said that David Laszloff, the head of the CEO of WBD, whatever they're calling themselves, Warner Brothers Discovery, calls him One Bill Phil because he's the genuine article, not a counterfeit buck. And then the Bucks,
they snapped back pretty quickly.
Yeah, and said that they would have counterfeit Bucks shirts available on Pro Wrestling Tees if they could. I don't know if they're gonna make peace to make money, but CM Punk is still very welcomed in the wrestling business, and the lines are drawn for a shoot roster split. It feels like it when he's the man with the bag, and he's got that title belt in the bag that he never lost. He took one shot at MJF, who has the belt. I don't know. What do you think? Should they just commit and split the roster?
I mean, would there be anything wrong with that? What's going on with ROH? Is that its own thing at the moment as well?
They're on the Honor Club. You can watch TV show, but
so would that be part of the roster split, or is ROH going to continue to be its own thing till it finds TV?
I feel like ROH is going to continue to do its own thing, but he had the ability to give. He has 3 time slots, and they're all AEW time slots. I mean, would it really hurt anybody's feelings if they turn Rampage into ROH Rampage?
I don't think it would hurt anybody's feelings. I think what's got to happen here is like, because you mentioned this last time I talked about it, they're going to have 2 live shows a week now. Mm-hmm. And you said WCW 2 live shows killed them.
When they did Nitro and Thunder.
In order for this to be a success, because I thought the show was fine. Obviously, it had a big draw with CM Punk's return. Can they come up with a way to make these shows all be separate and brand split in a way, but also help and like interweave enough to like draw folks to the next show?
Yeah,
because you don't want folks only watching the Wednesday show. You want to watch Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
They 100% could do that. Nobody's ever done it, but if he has the ability right now to become NWA of old, where you have certain shows, when they had, Mid-South had its own show, and, World Class had their own show. I think he totally could do that and just bring the bring the roster together for certain pay-per-views, big shows, have legit crossovers, but a shoot roster split. But WWE never commits to their roster split. Because
I think the pressures of having to book, on a weekly basis get to you, and you have to, you can't hold your cards. You have to play them, in the moment and use what you got. But I think there's a lot of possibility there, and that's AEW is just like. Right now, AEW is like your nephew who doesn't do his homework but does really good on the standardized tests. And they're like, he looks like he could be a genius, but I don't know. He can't even do his homework. He can't seem to do basic things in class.
It's got to be tough for Tony Khan to be the only one that's kind of the head of creative, being somewhat new to it. Vince always had that under control, but they could do it. Yeah. He has the money to do it. I guess the only difference between now and the WCW days, ironically, because it's the same company with TNT and TBS, right? They are selling the show rights where they're getting money for it. And I don't know if that was happening as much before.
What do you mean?
That was supposedly $1 billion deal that was going to happen.
That's why CM Punk's $1 billion.
Yeah. Yep. So he's going to get eyeballs, and he did. I haven't seen. Have you seen any ratings for it yet?
I have not seen any ratings for it.
I haven't seen the ratings yet either.
I think in I don't know what the expectations of the ratings are for that. I love the opening theme. Are you going to get folks to tune in on Saturday night? Like, what are you going to... If you can put something on that show that's going to make folks tune in, that theme song is going to help a lot.
Yeah, it was at the very last second, and he even tagged Elton John.
Tagged Elton John.
He tagged Elton John in that. Like, thanks for letting us use your song.
Because it's good. It's a good intro to a wrestling show. But is it going to be, like, what did you call it? The Heat? The heater show or something like that?
Oh, the heat magnet show.
The heat magnet show?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think Miro had any heat with anybody, but I mean, when you saw Thunder Rosa going over there who has rumored heat, and CM Punk obviously has heat, they have enough people on there that they have some people that could cross over. I guess they didn't fully commit to the split to me, because you saw the Acclaimed.
Yeah.
And the Acclaimed was there, and there's no way they're going to keep them to one show. But I think they should really commit to this roster split and see what happens.
I think they should as well. Yeah. I think it would be beneficial in the long run. They've got plenty of talent. Because WWE never commits to it, and I think that
and it always screws up.
It always screws them. It gets its heat for them. I think if they can do it and hold it long enough to actually utilize it for what it's for, which is to eventually cross the rosters, right?
Yeah.
Over in a pay-per-view. It's like, if you can do that, I think that would be huge. And you would be doing something that WWE has not been able to deliver.
Do you notice one thing that they never do and that they should do is, like, why don't you hire a new director of photography? Why don't you get rid of Kevin Dunn for one show and, like, you know what, you just do, we need a completely different look for this show, so it feels, everything still feels different, everything feels the same, other than one's red and one's blue, and that's it.
It feels wait, what do you mean one's red and one's blue?
With Raw and SmackDown, when they split the roster, one's red and one's blue.
Yeah.
But everything else is the same.
Yeah.
I'll give it to Collision. It felt a little different than Dynamite. They had a different stage, different backdrop, but it still felt like an AEW show, which it is. They haven't committed to a roster split, but I'm just talking about WWE.
Yeah.
They never committed to it. And then what they're doing with these belts are so confusing. They're more confusing than ever. They have a world belt and then a regular belt. So now does Roman have the... I know we're starting to splinter. We're just talking about pro wrestling in general now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like I said, that was the first amount of pro wrestling I've watched in a while. I hadn't really been watching it. And I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to getting back into it. Just needed to pull me in. Like I said, I'm setting up the screening room upstairs. It's been excellent for wrestling viewing.
Yeah. Sky Blue was the other winner of Sunday night. Her butt broke the internet, right? That's what she said.
Yeah.
She was a hometown girl.
Yeah.
And
how great is that? They let her go over in her hometown.
Yeah, that's nice. Completely opposite of what Vince would have done.
Yeah,
we're gonna cover your ass and we're gonna make you lose. Then I'm gonna make you kiss my ass. Completely different, but the matches were good. I'm still just a sucker for. I think the men's wrestling is a little bit behind the women's wrestling for me, because the most enjoyable match, other than the main event. I think CM, FTR, that's got legs. Having those two, have three together,
yeah,
that's got legs. But I enjoyed the Ruby Riott and Toni Storm.
I like Ruby Riott and Toni Storm as a team. But Toni Storm is
outcasts.
Also the champ?
Yeah, she beat Jamie Hayter.
Okay, that's awkward. That's got to change.
And
we don't have women's tag team champs in AEW, do we?
No, I don't think we have that yet.
Why don't we have? There's too many. Can't they swap out one of the men's belts for that? Cut it in half? Because it's like that doesn't make sense to me.
They should. I mean, they have enough. But, man, I don't know. But at least AEW, they have let other companies' belts come on there, because you noticed that Willow was wearing the belt that she beat Mercedes for when Mercedes got shoot hurt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that doesn't bother me. I like that crossover when they're the Forbidden Door angles there. So, we'll see. I'm going to tune in. It was enough for me to say, okay, YouTube TV, let's put a little check gimmick here, and let's see what else they can do.
Go ahead and record.
Yeah. But I'll also be watching Wednesday, because people are going to expect the Bucks to respond, but they're not going to. I should say the Elite, not just the Bucks, but they're not going to be able to respond to Chicago, because they're going to turn heel. And if you watch that AEW All Access, I don't know if they necessarily want to be heels.
Who are the Bucks?
Yeah.
They're terrible heels, in my opinion.
I don't know if
goofy.
they want to
They're
be.
goofy heels, and I don't think like their heel gimmick would not work anywhere else other than AEW, where they're the boss.
Yeah,
but I don't. Yeah.
Oh, he did take one other shot at him and I don't know if it was a shot at the fans or the Bucks or the Elite or whatever. He's like, I apologize that the only people softer than you are the wrestlers that you cheer for.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. Those were the only two shots that he actually took. And he kind of giggled on that one. So I think Mark Henry said this, and I agree with him. I think pro wrestling needs CM Punk. He's the most interesting thing that they have going in AEW right now.
He definitely. The thing is, this is how I felt about this whole comeback thing. I mean, look, we live in a different time. Like, the dirt sheet culture has gone Black Mirror. Like, you could do a Black Mirror episode about online wrestling dirt sheets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like everybody now is like, everything is perpetuating a narrative. Not only wrestling, but like in movies, right? Somebody's, oh, it's a flop. It's a huge flop. This movie flopped so hard. You know, and like people are just out there reporting that, and it's not necessarily true. So, but when he comes back, and like you said, you always said since the beginning, it's like, for him to come back and just turn it into business is what they need to do. Like, that's the best way to address it, you know?
Yeah.
And with him coming back, it felt finally that they were doing that necessary thing. So it like eliminates all the HR awkwardness.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's like somebody got hurt on the playground and they cried and now we're playing again. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's just like it felt good. It was like a tension release.
It was
like chainsaw screaming in summer school. So I want to see more. Like, it's good. I want to see. Obviously, you're right. CM Punk is great for wrestling. Like, if the guys in suits at Warner Brothers can tell, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not wrestling fans. They just watched 5 minutes of it. And like, okay, well, this guy, we got to have this guy.
Yeah. That's perfect. And they just, how legit did that feel when him and FTR coming out of there? You felt like pro wrestling. I felt like Arn and Tully were coming out, right? And it just felt like old, dirty, old, beautiful wrestling. That's what was missing. It took a little bit of that shine off of it, which is what we needed. And that's what, that's why they're top guys. And that's when CM Punk is a top guy. What did you think of them reviving that feud that you have to be a hardcore wrestling fan to know it, that CM Punk versus Samoa Joe that had a great wrestling match trilogy back in the early 2Ks?
Yeah.
And the crowd popped when those two faced each other.
Yeah. I mean, the crowd, for the wrestling fans, that's huge. That's great. I don't know for the layperson, other than they both, I think, are pretty recognizable. I think Samoa Joe's pretty recognizable, even though he's not, on that name recognizable. I feel like visually he's recognizable.
Yeah, they know who he is.
Yeah. So it was great. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like
fun.
There was that one moment where they did a close up on CM Punk getting choked, and his facials were really good. I was like, oh wow, this is. I tell you, the best AEW match I ever saw live was CM Punk and Eddie Kingston at All Out.
Oh yeah.
So, and like, we were close. I told you how we got past that crane, and we were just really close. So you could see these guys, their facials really clear, and just, I don't know, just CM Punk definitely, he understands the crowd.
He does.
He's the what's the name of the dude, and what's John Travolta in Saturday Night Live?
Tony Marino.
He's the Tony Moretto of wrestling.
He understands the crowd.
Yeah.
He understands the crowd out there. He's the king.
Yeah.
And he said the king is back, man. It's funny. I knew I was going to be driving over the Verrazano, and I tried to base my movie choice on where I'm going to be. So I was like, we're going to be driving over the Verrazano. I got to watch Saturday Night Fever. And then Clerks, because I was going to be in Jersey. So those were my movie flights. But talking about Saturday Night Fever, but that's what CM Punk was. He was the king out there.
Sidebar, Saturday Night Fever is super dark.
Oh my God, it was. Oh yeah, it's really dark.
You think it's just like about disco dancing? It's like that one. It's like the montage scene in Boogie Nights. That's what you think Saturday Night Fever. It's like no. It's like a family drama and like there's cringy things in it. There's drug abuse. There's falling off bridges. Anyway.
Actually, when I was driving back, I was writing a letter as the guy who fell off the bridge, he was writing a letter to all the people that hung around his dad. And I was like, that would be a good movie. And I was kind of going through my head, that would be better than that. Like, just like, and it would turn into like a Where Are They Now?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, so that was a sidebar. But it was good to see CM Punk back. I think wrestling needs things like CM Punk and Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, somebody that was in the business for a decade and, even outside of it for a little bit longer. And then as a fan your entire life, when you ask me like what's interesting, those are the first that come to my head. And it's because those are real. You got everything with Punk going on as a shoot. He doesn't script his promos. He just goes out there.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar. And to another smaller extent, the Roman Reigns, because he took creative control and now created this beautiful bloodline story that's been going on for years.
Yeah.
That's still going, and that super kick heard around the world with now the Usos are out of the bloodline and they're setting up, and that's going to be a match that's going to be going on in the Usos versus Solo and Roman. It's like, man, they're just juicing so much of this story. So I like it just because it's real. It's their and that's real in the sense that he is the top guy. He is the tribal chief for a shoot in the locker room. Nothing happens without Roman's blessing, kind of like it did with The Undertaker. And this is his family. And that's why it feels so good. These are like his cousins that grew up like they were brothers. And they're part of this story. And then Sammy and KO kind of recognized that, and they got pulled in. And it's just like when it feels real, it just feels great. So CM Punk, I'm ready for more. I'm ready for some collision. But let's talk about this because you brought it up. So the online, and we know it because we got attacked one time on Twitter for like what if scenario with involving CM Punk and Cornette, and we got legit attacked. But that's something going on with that right now. The pro Punk, the anti Punk. We have the pro Flash, anti Flash crowd, and now the wave was very pro Flash, and then the weekend numbers came in, and then the wave just flew back. Now the Flash blowback is so bad that James Gunn is being affected by it, even though he really had nothing to do with this film other than putting the stamp of approval of what reshoots were allowed to be used. But how many bots, like who's benefiting from these clicks of this pro and anti movie stuff at a very fragile time in Hollywood? We're, a year away from could be some dark times, and I mean dark times in the sense that there'll be no movies out because these strikes are still going on and
everything's shutting down. All your favorite movies have shut down.
Yeah,
everybody, like all the folks. What are the sites that talk about upcoming movie rumors going to do when nothing is being shot?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
it's like there's nothing left after that. Yeah.
What are these toxic bots going to talk about? Well, the wars are not going to. That's just not that entertaining to me. Like I won't engage. I just refuse. I refuse to fight over entertainment. But people love it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's just like we're talking about. Like sites just create a narrative to get clicks. You know?
What was the movie? It was a couple weeks ago when I said, "Oh, it's bombing," and you're like, "It's not bombing."
The Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Did it? Like, what is it officially considered a bomb or not? I don't even know.
I don't think
because I was just getting fed a bunch of stuff that was like, this isn't working.
I don't think it bombed. I think it didn't do as well as they thought or something, but it's still probably going to make like $500 million.
Yeah, it's creeping up at a $500 million
so
worldwide.
That's not a bomb by any means.
No, not by any stretch.
They didn't make money. Okay, that's a thing. But I think like I said, it's the I don't know, the movie dirt sheet pages engaged now in adversarial opinion.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
It's just gnarly. But, is James Gunn responsible for this?
No, I think there's a lot of reasons for this. Like to me, it's not. If you think about it, it makes total sense. You know what I mean? That this would happen. You know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons. Like,
they've been sitting on this movie for how many years?
Sitting on it for a while.
Yeah.
The lead actor carries the whole movie. Has had legal troubles. Okay. Yep. He's probably known. Your grandma knows him as the actor from the superhero movie that started a cult or something.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's all that's floating out there. I think the way they marketed this movie was almost too aggressive that people got tired of hearing about it.
Yeah, that's a good way to let's book Tom Cruise and Stephen King to put our movie over.
Yeah, that, and they showed it. They premiered it months ago. You know, and they've been screening it for people ongoing for months to try and get people to talk about it. I think a lot of people that would have gone to see it already saw it for free.
Yep.
But I mean, it was a fine movie. I just think, I mean, people might be already done with this whole DC universe. I don't know. I also think Ezra Miller has never really proved super appealing as the Flash. I don't think that, you know, I don't think he ever got over as the Flash.
Well, the best that he was in the Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is probably the least viewed of all the DC properties, right? Even though it's probably the best DC property that you've never seen. That's the only time you saw him. And he was an ensemble.
Yeah.
He didn't carry it himself.
Yeah.
Like this one, he had to carry it himself. This was not a Batman movie. Like a lot of people were booking this as this is a Batman movie. Do we want to throw a spoiler alert? They probably saw it, right?
People, dude, my button, the Incredible Tron is down.
But spoilers. Yeah, they probably saw it, but not one, not two, three Batman
In this movie.
But it still felt like he was, they were all working around what the Flash was doing. The Flash, the two Barry Allens were the stars of this movie.
Yeah.
Did you like the movie?
I liked it fine. I thought it was a good superhero movie. I thought it just worked well. I was entertained the whole way through. There was some laughs in there. I had no heat with it. The thing I had been hearing was everybody complaining about the really bad effects.
Yeah.
They are bad, but I guess I didn't care. I was like, how clear do you want that baby in a microwave to be?
Yeah.
How many times do you want me to render that, y'all? You want to see the baby super clearly. So what does it matter, right? Like how does that?
That was very uncomfortable. I don't know about you. I was very uncomfortable with that baby in the microwave.
It's like
I was squirming.
Yeah,
I was squirming for sure. I took it as anytime the effects were bad, it's when he was in the Speed Force, when he was actually going fast, or when he was in the Chromo Bowl arena.
Yeah,
which it wasn't supposed to be clear.
Didn't bother,
as I took it, but and you know those let's talk about the cameos because we wished right here on the show we made a short we needed to see Christopher Reeve and we got him, and that was another one that people are really got a lot of heat. Like the biggest trend on Flash is not Flash box office; it says the Flash CGI. If you search Twitter, that's the first suggestion.
Right.
I mean, obviously he passed. They did not do as well as Loomis in Halloween like we wanted, but it was there. And then Nicolas Cage, that wasn't CGI. That was really Nicolas Cage.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Yeah.
The cameos are fine, but cameos don't add anything to the actual movie.
No,
it's become a gimmick, and it's like, it doesn't really do anything. And they were fine.
Yeah. There was more. They cut so much more. They cut Linda Carter, Wonder Woman. They cut Cesar Romero and Burgess
This movie
Meredith.
feels like it was cut down to the bare bone because it moves. It's fast paced. Every scene matters. There's no downtime in this movie. I can't think of a single thing that I would, even like I said, the bad CGI, I don't care. I think it was fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. I'm over it already. I'm over it.
Yeah, I'm already done.
Yeah. It's just, but like, I just think that this movie had a cloud over it for a long time.
It did.
I think the marketing was maybe too aggressive that folks just got tired of it. I think, here's the best marketing drop ever, in my opinion. Here's my opinion, Jeff, and I bet you'll at least partially agree.
Yeah.
The best movie drop ever was Netflix at the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Cloverfield 3 after the game.
So good. Good.
That was it. That was awesome.
That was fantastic. I totally agree.
So I think instead of showing this movie months ago to people so they can build chatter and all the spoilers can get out or whatever, I mean, I feel like it would have been more effective to just be like, hold all your info, and then 2 weeks before you want to drop the trailer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like, boom, and just like show people nothing. And get them in. Because I think people were just worn out from hearing about it.
I think you're right. And it was just, it had a tough road ahead of it. I loved it. I really did like it. But that being said, I liked it in the sense that I got to see a lot of things that I've been waiting for a long time. But I was also looking at this film. I fell for the one part of the narrative that this was going to be a reboot. This was going to be a reset. So to me, it was going to be goodbye for a lot of the characters. Sure. And I was excited to see, okay, what's this next step going to be? Because what happened with Shazam, which I think is going to unfortunately happen to Blue Beetle, and it's definitely going to happen to Aquaman, is, like you said, James Gunn was so aggressive that he made these movies feel like they didn't matter. And this was the only one that he kind of put an asterisk on. It kind of matters because that's going to be our official reset. But the other ones, like, why are you going to have any kind of emotional investment in there if you know that they're just going to be throwing them away? And I feel like that's what that end credit scene was trying to accomplish with Aquaman. No, Aquaman's still here, even though it was kind of like they could have done so much more with that end credit scene. But I mean, I liked the movie. It was great to see. And I liked the movie in the sense that the Flash stuff, it's fine. But I was happy to see Michael Keaton as Batman again. And I think he did a great job. And you know who the number one character in that movie was for me?
Supergirl.
Fantastic. I want a movie of her like immediately. She was so good.
Supergirl was the best thing in that movie. Yeah. Whatever, I would love to see a Supergirl movie.
Oh man, she was so Sasha Calle. Oh man, she was so like she was the bright spot of that. And I guess what worked out well is you didn't really know what to expect, and even wasn't until that first trailer that you knew she was even going to be in there.
Yeah.
But man, to me, she delivered. Like, she was a badass. Like, she was ready to face Zod. But then I didn't expect like a teased heel turn. Like, wait, I'm not a human. Screw you. I'm going to go see what, these Kryptonians are doing. Like, everything about that was so good. So I did enjoy the movie, but there was also that part of me of just like, what am I investing in here? I was investing in, okay, he said this is going to be a reboot. So whatever happens at the end, I knew there was going to be a swerve. You knew he was going to do something that was going to affect the timeline permanently with the tomato cans. But I didn't expect George Clooney. Did you expect that? You knew it was coming?
I got spoiled on it.
Oh,
and
you got spoiled.
I was like, oh, really? Okay. We'll check it out. Sounds interesting enough. But it makes sense. Is he going to be the Batman in the Brave and the Bold? Is that what's happening there?
No, that's what they said.
Which I got no heat with that if that's the case.
No, but they said he's not, and that's
then I don't get it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They took the opportunity to do the hard reset, and they screwed it up. This was their opportunity to do the Flash when you look up and you have Charlton Heston and says, damn it, and you realize that the Statue of Liberty, like, you're still screwed, and the movie could have ended.
Yeah.
And man, that would have got people go to Aquaman. They would have just like, at that point, they would have wanted any little tidbit. Because you realize by him moving the tomato can, it didn't make big damage, but it did change a lot of things. And they blew that by a comedy gag. I have no heat with George Clooney.
Yeah.
And it accomplished what they were trying to accomplish, that nothing's ever going to be the same. But it just felt like it was too jokey to end on when I was expecting a universal reboot.
Yeah.
With approved reshoots, because the original ending of this scene was Michael Keaton getting out of the car, and then Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot showing up, and Henry Cavill showing up with Supergirl, with Kara Zor-El. They were all going to be there, and he's going to realize, we're still kind of stuck. But that would have been if they stayed in the Rock's universe. Let's talk about that, because that was going to be the Rock's direction. That was the Rock's ending. And then although this movie made less than Black Adam. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah.
I heard that, yeah.
So they're getting some heat for that. But if that was the Rock's ending, they would have been like, Henry Cavill is still in this.
Yeah.
And it would have wouldn't have been like a reboot. This one just kind of ended on a joke. And I think this movie was too important to end on two jokes. The ending was a laugh, and then the end credit scene was a laugh. And I was left more confused, rather than I wanted to have that Planet of the Apes moment of just like, then you start fantasy booking on what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
But we didn't get that. And is that James Gunn's fault? Because James Gunn is getting 50% heat on this.
I don't think he's to blame. I think he was working with the film again, and then I think a lot of the reason that this is not working is because of the marketing.
Yeah.
And the fact that they probably built people's expectations way too high.
Oh yeah. The greatest comic book movie of all time.
Yeah, that was way too much.
Yeah, that was way too much. I struggled with that. We were talking about with Across the Spider-Verse. I don't ever want to hear a film's going to be the greatest of all time, because then I'm too much of an optimist, and then even if it's really great, I'm going to be like, oh, I told you I needed to see Across the Spider-Verse the second time to realize how great it really was, But I went in there with, it was kind of like let the steam out of the balloon. So I don't know. I don't blame James Gunn for this. I blame, like you said, maybe some marketing decisions, but he still needs to take a swing at this. I don't blame the director, Andy Muschietti. People are like, oh, good job announcing that he's going to be directing Batman the Brave and the Bold after his film just bombed. I was like, this isn't his fault either.
Yeah.
I mean, he shot a film years ago. I mean, I don't think that he needs to take the heat for this either. I think the heat clearly falls on Ezra for committing crimes in real life as a superhero. I think he's responsible.
Well, yeah. I mean, he got a lot of bad press. That affects the movie,
Yeah.
That's a huge part. And I think they were trying to recover from that. They thought they could overcome it. Because the movie itself, if Ezra Miller was a babyface, that movie would be so over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the movie would have got over. I think in the end,
he would have been able to go on Jimmy Fallon and promote it. You know what I mean? And do a game. And
man, did he not look like he was like hypnotized or something on that red carpet? Did you see him?
Yeah.
They're like, man, did they like sew his mouth shut? Like I think he answered some of the questions.
He only had approved words that he could say out loud.
Oh my God. What do you think happens to him now?
I think this is probably the end of his career for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to get booked.
No.
So I think right now it's going to be slowly go away for a while and see if you can come back with some sort of like smaller indie thing, go back to your roots and see what you can do.
He's going to be the Vinny Chase Hollywood jail.
I think so.
Although he's not going, I mean, he's for Vinny Chase, it was bad movie choices, but for Ezra, I mean, it was true crime. Unfortunately,
bad life choices.
Yeah, very bad life choices.
But I think that's probably what's going to happen. I mean, there's no Flash 2 coming. Just didn't do well enough. And again, this movie had everything going against it.
Yeah. So as for everything that did go against it, I would have thought it would have had a little bit more. Just getting Michael Keaton to come back, I would have thought that was enough. But Hollywood's, everything's taking a beating right now.
Yeah.
Anthony brought this up. The industry needs to decentralize to not let reputation and personal lives get in the way of art. Here's the thing. We've said this before. Like De Niro, De Niro and Pacino, right? They always did everything they can to hide their personal life.
Yeah.
And they did it for the art because, like, if you see me, going to Chili's or on social media, which didn't exist before, are you really going to be able to see me as these characters? You have trouble with that with The Rock, who's huge in social media. But The Rock is always The Rock.
Yeah.
He doesn't get lost in these roles because you can hear, you can see, you can feel The Rock. This is different times for actors than before. So the scrutiny is going to be there. You have to be squeakier clean or sneakier than ever to,
you have to
live your life.
Everyone's got phones, and there's an entire industry that just thrives on celebrity gossip. So
yeah,
they feed off of you,
Yeah.
Just waiting for you to do anything inappropriate that they can post.
And he didn't, and Ezra did multiple things.
Whatever is going on, like I want them to get their mental health together and all the help they need. It's great, but it's just unfortunate, like the way it went down, because I think their career is over for a while.
Yeah, I think he's definitely done for a while. I think Michael Keaton obviously stays unscathed. I think Sasha is going to stay unscathed. Like, I don't feel like they're going to be affected. I was surprised that they were trying to pull Anthony Muschietti. Is that how you say his name? Muschietti? Yeah. I was surprised that he was getting any kind of flack for this because I don't think there was anything wrong with that other than, I guess, as the director, would you get final say on just like how many times you're going to render that baby in the microwave?
It could have been a cost-cutting measure. They were like, let's just like save some on the effects. We've already spent all this and we're going to have to spend more on marketing. So it could have been. And then they're just like, they turned it into a style choice.
Yeah.
Because like the Muschietti, the director, was saying, it's like, I intended those effects to look cheesy because it's a comic book movie.
Yeah, that's not I would have bought it. He said, I intended them to look distorted because you're watching somebody travel faster than the speed of light.
Sure, and that's a way better. You should work for Warner Brothers PR.
That's all he had to say.
It's a way better explanation.
Because when he was in the Chromo Dome, that's exactly what I thought. Why Henry Cavill looked funny and they all looked funny. He's like, yeah, he's traveling so fast, faster than the speed of light. Everything's going to look a little distorted.
Yeah.
When you're underwater, things look distorted. When you're traveling faster than the speed of light, I've never done it to my knowledge, but I assume it's going to look a little distorted.
Yeah, that's fine. And again, the special effects, I think, were fine.
Yeah.
Like, they are not as good as, whatever. I don't know. I was watching, like, the first Avengers movie, and those effects looked really good. I think they had way more time to work on them back then, but it didn't really bother me that much that the effects were bad. I didn't care because the movie overall worked. Here's another factor, though, Jeff. I think there's lots of factors why this didn't work. We were thinking everybody's in it to see the Keaton Batman. But Keaton Batman was 34 years ago?
Yeah, 89, right? Yep.
34 years ago was Keaton Batman. The target audience to this movie was not born for like 12 years after that.
Oh my God. Oh, when you put it that way. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So they don't know about Keaton Batman. They don't care.
No.
And honestly, if you watch Keaton Batman now, it's pretty goofy. You know? It's got that Tim Burton vibe, which, I mean, he's never made a serious movie. His movie's always got sort of a goofy vibe.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. No, 100%.
And it's just there. And I think Batman Returns is better, but that was not a draw for folks who are not 50.
No, you're right. This was the first time you're right. I think they skewed the audience for the older audience, because how many people knew about the whole, unless you saw the Kevin Smith documentary, The Death of Superman Lives, how many people knew about Nicolas Cage being booked as Superman with the giant spider?
Just nerds like us. Like, nobody cares about that.
I was that's the first thing that I was listening for, and I heard it yesterday when I went to the theater. I didn't hear it today, and I heard it when I first walked out. You needed the one nerd that was in the group that said, do you know why they had Nicolas Cage in there? And had to go through the whole story.
Yeah, and like, I mean, for I'm sure, like for the non-discriminating crowd, not the non-movie nerd crowd, probably didn't even occur to them that was Nicolas Cage.
No,
in that cameo, because the effects are so bad.
Yeah,
nobody looked at that and automatically knew that's Nicolas Cage as Superman. How strange.
Yeah,
it was just there's another Superman with long hair.
I enjoyed it. I mean, but again, like.
I feel like if Nick Cage would have done that Superman role, I bet he would have played it a little bit like his Con Air role.
Yeah, you're right.
Had the way to go. A little less of a southern accent.
For sure. And then I didn't expect it. The George Reeves Superman cameo didn't feel like a cameo because that just felt like stock footage.
Yeah.
And I think at that point they just started rolling through stock footage. I wish they would have found a way to make it seem like we were looking back in time and not actually watching stock footage. But I didn't know if that's possible to do it.
It looked like worse than stock footage, I feel like. It looked like what was that movie? Like Young Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
The very first digital effect ever where he fights that he fights that window painting or whatever.
Oh, that's right.
And it's like super flat. That's what Christopher Reeves as Superman looked like to me.
Yeah.
Like just a flat, non-dimensional thing. Like if you turned him on his side, he'd be flat. You would see just a single flat line.
Yeah. I mean, and you know,
cardboard cutout. It was a cardboard cutout.
Spider-Verse could get away with it, right? Because it was animated.
Right.
So you can do those, but it didn't work here. I still popped because, like I said, I was happy to see it, but I really was actually surprised that Helen Slater showed up. Like I did not expect that. Yes. But again, she was also a victim.
She's the only other Supergirl. I mean, I guess they could have got Melissa Benoit from the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. But no,
it is kind of a weird decision to put them together because they were never in the movie.
They were never in the movie. Like he pulled out of that. He was going to have a cameo in that, and he pulled out.
Yeah.
So they were never together. So, but it was fun. Again, those were wink wink fun for Gen X. Thank you, Anthony Muschietti, for taking care of Gen X. You know, but now you got to worry about the next generations to pull those in. And unfortunately, they had Twitter. I don't blame him. I blame Ezra. I mean, but it is what it is. I still enjoyed the film. I feel bad, like you said. You know, he clearly needs help. But seeing, like you said, if he was a babyface and if he was out there doing good things, this movie would have done way better.
Yeah.
It would have done way better. But again, I think I need to go see that one again, too. I think I need to see that one just now that the steam has been let out of the balloon. I need to see that with eyes of just like, I don't have to look for different things. Michael Shannon was saying something that he played this role a little bit different. Did it feel different from his Man of Steel? I guess it did feel a little bit less personal. Like Man of Steel felt personal because you got their entire backstory. This one just felt like this was business.
Well,
and
this is another reason I think folks are not enjoying the movie. Like, if you're a Flash fan, when does Flash fight Zod in the comics?
You're right. No.
Is that a thing? Like, why do they have the Flash fighting Zod?
That's true.
Why couldn't you do a Flash villain?
Right, yeah, and they
because I guess because the intention was always to just reboot this universe,
right?
So they wanted to like button it all up together from the first movie to the last.
I guess they needed that unstoppable hero. Like what I when I think of Flash villains, I think Captain Cold and Gorilla Grodd. But maybe they just wanted to go with the Kryptonian that they wanted to go with a villain that nobody could stop because clearly the only one that could have stopped it was Supergirl. That's the only thing I can think of. But you're right. There was an opportunity for Reverse Flash, which was in there, and that was the rumor. And then they kind of had a weird version of it when it was just Barry Allen again with all this Kryptonian stuff that he just kept getting stabbed and going back in time and trying to fix it.
That was the Dark Flash. Right?
Yeah. Which I guess that's the closest you got to a villain, but it still didn't feel villainy. It just felt like somebody that was just desperate. That was a desperate hero, which I guess you could call a villain, but you're right. I mean, it could be off-putting that it was a Superman main villain that was fighting the Flash, and the Flash did no chance.
It's like every superhero movie part of it is introducing a villain for your superhero to fight. You need a baby face and a heel, and they just recycled Zod from another movie. It makes sense for what their intentions were to like reboot everything, but it makes the movie just a less appealing idea.
What is Zack Snyder thinking about all of this? It's just like, for telling me that my universe is canceled, every single project that you've had since you told me this has had one of the characters that I've helped build.
Well, he had all the marbles. That's the thing. I mean, he was the guy, right? And it's like, if you go back, Man of Steel's not that bad. I don't know why people
it's
don't
not
like
bad
it.
at all.
I was fine with it. Like, I think that was a good beginning, but they just overcorrected so bad that they threw everything off alignment. You know what I mean?
They did.
And they're still feeling the effects because, like these movies are still doing Zack Snyder stuff, which I don't understand why. But like, I think this one, like I said, it finally nailed the formula that it was going for. They did a DC Marvel movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Finally.
Yep.
Totally worked, and it's the lowest box office they've ever done.
And the irony is that, this movie was built on multiverse. And if this would have came out when it was originally, they would have been first to right? We have our 3 multiverse movies. We have Into... Oh,
right, because they were doing Flashpoint first.
Yeah, Flashpoint would have came first. Way before Quantumania, way before Loki 2, way before Multiverse of Madness. And then way before Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, you would have had Michael Keaton's Batman explaining the multiverse. And now it felt like he was a little bit late to the party. Although, did you notice that he explained it different than they did in Endgame when they started talking about how time travel works? And he's just like, it's just a big spaghetti mess.
I did notice that.
I didn't. It felt like it's like you may have seen it in a movie.
Right. He specifically.
I don't know if it was making fun of that or if he was making fun of Back to the Future. Back to the Future gets another comic book time travel shout out. It got a shout out in Endgame, and now it got a big shout out. It was a big part of the plot was Eric Stoltz. I did not expect that.
Yeah. Another one for the nerds, though.
Again, how many people know about that?
Yeah, I don't think anybody in the average, non-discriminating movie crowd is like, what? What are they talking about?
Did you pop though a little bit when?
It was great for me
when they talked about the butterfly effect. So who went on? So what did Kevin Bacon went on to do?
Top Gun.
I thought that was cool. I did enjoy it. There's a lot of elements. Here's the thing: we go to these movies to be entertained, and I did have fun.
It's a very entertaining movie.
I had fun.
Great.
I had no regrets.
Yeah, it's just past its prime, held too long, oversold, overcrimed. Just everything that could possibly go wrong with this movie went wrong with this movie. It just sucks that it also happened to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And they finally got it right. They got it done. And everybody's like, they already stopped paying attention. They've already stopped paying attention.
So you made a comic book movie.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen to Blue Beetle?
I think Blue Beetle has a chance, man.
You do?
If they can keep it isolated in its own little universe, if it gets over, if it's good, I think it has possibility. It's got Hispanic characters. That's got some appeal, some draw.
Yeah.
George Lopez looks like he could be funny in it. That could be good. So if they could turn this into a little nugget of a small superhero universe for Miguel, I think it could work. It could work.
It could.
James
Gunn announced that Blue Beetle is the first official DCU character, but the Blue Beetle movie is not a DCU movie.
I don't understand.
He's trying so hard. He's like, I guess that I took it as that is gonna be your Blue Beetle going forward, but this movie may not be his origin story, and I think that's what's confusing people.
Okay, yeah. I mean, what does it matter? Just don't even tell us what you're gonna put out. Just put out the trailers.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And again, I think everybody would benefit. This is my PSA to the world, all of us. Let's all close our browsers and just stop caring about what's coming out and just wait for the trailer to hit. let's give ourselves that joy back. Remember the joy of seeing a trailer? It's like, oh, this is coming out. We need that back.
I wanted to be quiet because amen, Mervyn. I just wanted to take it in. I wanted to drink it in because there's nothing like seeing a trailer in the theater that you didn't get to see it on your phone or anything first. And all of a sudden you're like, I've been waiting for this. And you didn't know it was going to drop. That's a beautiful feeling. We need to recreate that. You know what that feels like? That feels like a blockbuster on a Friday night. You remember that feeling?
That's a great feeling. Let me take you back to, spring 1989. When that first Batman trailer hit.
Oh, man.
First Keaton Batman, and there's like no dialogue in it.
Right.
You know?
Yep. That was so good.
You need moments like that to be.
And you couldn't go back and rewatch it when you got home.
No, you couldn't.
You couldn't. You had to go the next time you went to the theater. That's when you said it.
Anyway, but like
those were good times.
I just think, just let's all stop caring. Let's all stop trying to figure out what's going to happen in the movie. Den of Nerds, shut down. No, I'm just kidding. You do great stuff, but like I'm just saying, let's all just let the movies happen, and maybe we can enjoy them some more.
We have to because there's no way I fall victim to it too. You go in with these expectations.
Yeah.
When we just had nothing but hope. Do people go in with not the desperate type of hope of please make this work, of just like the wonderment of walking in, like what am I about to walk into and see?
Yeah.
Like nobody can do that. And now we have to suffer 2 more fingers crossed, hold on to your butts DC movies at a time where Hollywood is so fragile, because we're talking about DC being fragile. Marvel's on the ropes. They're so fragile right now. Listen to this. Would you have thought that in the same weekend, The Flash and the new Pixar movie would have both tanked? And they did. I think people are just... Hollywood's on the ropes, man.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't think they're going to tank. I think Flash will probably still make its money back.
Right.
Elemental, I don't know what it's just lower than it's been.
Yeah.
You know, and so people are not coming out the way they used to for this stuff. Pixar is because, I mean, I hate to say it, but Pixar is an old brand. It's time to, they're going to have to
refresh,
put some juice into that one and refresh and get some young blood going. Someone pointed this out on the internet, and I thought it was really funny. It's like all the Pixar movies coming out are always about standing up to your parents, which is like the plot of every Pixar movie. I was like, that's true.
Parents just don't understand, man.
But you've got, like, again, look, the 2 biggest movies of the year are animated movies: Super Mario Brothers and Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So it's just like animation is doing something different now, and Pixar is classic Coke. You know, and people want cherry, vanilla, peach, whatever.
They want that freestyle machine.
Yeah.
You called it when you're just like everything's blue globs, and then you're like, wasn't there another blue glob movie?
There is another blue glob.
There is. I didn't really. It's I was a teenage Kraken.
Yeah, there you go.
And I was like, oh, that's what Mario was talking about. That's the blue glob he was talking about. They just need, they 100% need a refresh. But they had their founder kind of went off the rails too, right? And didn't he get canceled?
I think some of their,
So what is Disney going to do, man? They bought all these brands and they corporatized them, right? Because we know Star Wars is the credibility's on the rope, Marvel's credibility's on the rope. Now Pixar's not. What do they do? Like, what does Disney do? Like, how do they recover? Can they recover from this? Do they cut bait? Do they just learn to put a sock in it and, like you said, just take their time with movies? Like, what's the answer here?
I mean, I don't really know what the answer is. I just think that people's tastes are changing.
Yeah.
So they need to adjust. It's time to adjust to that, or at least whatever. Because I mean, they have a product. They got wholesome family entertainment, right?
Yeah.
With lessons in there, and don't let your dad tell you can't do what you want. Your parents can't hold you down. But anyway, it's like they have a brand, and I just don't know that folks are. It's not appealing to people. And then you've got to also take into account that they kind of got screwed in the pandemic because Disney put all their stuff on. Disney Plus.
In their Disney Plus.
And now they're back in theaters, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna. Why would I would just wait? It's on Disney Plus in a month.
That's what I was wondering. Is like, do you feel like it's just a lot of people that are? We've been threatened for a long time that when are people going to stop going to the movies? Do you think there's a big crowd of people that's still not going back to the movies, just out of habit?
No, I think people are going to the movies, but by the way, we like the studios release stuff. They're training people to expect things in a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, right, like, again, I've said this before. Right now, the Marvel movies, I think part of the reason they're suffering is because they devalued their movies with a bunch of TV shows.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that it's going to come to Disney Plus eventually. But also, it's just like, oh, there's all these other TV shows. It just feels less special, you know?
Yeah, because remember how that first Disney drop? I mean, I know it was during lockdown, but how special it felt like that we were going to get WandaVision on TV. And I liken it to same feeling that I got like, wow, I can't believe we're going to have a TV show about zombies. That's only done in movies.
Right.
It was that special feeling.
Right.
And that feeling is gone. The thrill is gone for that. Like, did you even know? I'm going to test you. Did you even know that there was a new Marvel Disney show dropping tomorrow?
I knew something was coming.
The
Secret Wars?
Secret Invasion.
The Secret Invasion?
And it hit me last week that I was like, wow, this is coming up next week. Before, when these shows were dropping, you knew the exact day they were dropping.
Yeah.
I had no idea. There was a couple of weeks ago, you could watch the first 10 minutes if you hacked into a website and put in this password. Like they're getting gimmicky with their marketing, and that's not going to work. So I don't know what this show is going to do.
I was watching some trailers or whatever about it, just to kind of see what it was. I mean, I kind of know what it is, obviously. I mean, I follow all the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
But here's one thing I noticed, and I don't think anyone's going to tune into this show, and I'll tell you exactly why. In every bit of information, video, trailers I've seen for this, there's not a single superhero.
Oh, you're right.
In anything that they show.
Yeah.
Why what are you telling people to tune in for here?
Right.
You can't do that.
That's a good point, that you're not clear, because I don't know if the average person is clear on who were the heels
because they were baby faces in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So I don't know that this is selling anything to folks. I think people, it's just like, oh, it's the Sam Jackson show, and he's like a detective or something.
Right.
You know, it's just like, why would people hop over to that? There's so many other choices.
I think one of the marketing things that's being pushed back there is backfiring a little bit. They're like, this is to Marvel what Andor was to Star Wars, which Andor was a great show, but a lot of people did not watch Andor.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people did not watch Andor.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would be telling people that either. So I'm gonna check it out. I mean, I give everything a swing. I'm a little bit more forgiving than, like you said, a lot of these movie dirt sheets and sites that are just so unforgiving and they just get so angry. What generation is doing this? Like, I don't feel like that's the true film fans generation. I feel like the ones that you really need to be focused on, which I guess would be Gen Z, they're going to Fathom Events to watch anime. Like, they're watching all this stuff that has nothing to do with like a lot of these main brands. Like, it takes a lot to cross over. And what has crossed over across generations are the two that you mentioned. Super Mario Brothers, which, I mean, I put that as timeless, right? Because everybody who's ever played a game knows who Mario is.
Yeah.
And, across the Spider-Verse, which I called American anime, that it feels so different. The emotional stakes in there were way different. And I just feel like they're missing a lot of these emotional stakes that are going to lure this new generation out to the theaters to watch these IPs that used to mean a lot. They used to mean a lot. I mean, it meant, to me, I was shocked knowing Quentin Tarantino, not knowing him personally, but everything he said, right? You knew that he was the type of person that was collecting comic books when he was a kid, and he wanted to do those. And now he won't touch a movie like that because they become something different. He's kind of like a good theatrical litmus test, because the two big moments that I told you about was one that he's like, I don't give a fuck about Disney Star Wars. I want George Lucas Star Wars. Otherwise, I don't care. And then this second one was just like, he came out against comic book movies. Do you think I think that's a good litmus test, because he is the master of the theatrical experience.
I mean, he's very extremely knowledgeable of Hollywood in general.
Yeah.
He knows the cycles, he knows what works. That's how he was always able to manage his career so well. It's like he just understood it. He read so much about it and everything. I feel like we are inundated now with superhero entertainment because it works. People like it.
Yeah.
Just like they like comic books. I feel like even if you weren't into comic books as a kid, superhero stuff still even expanded further. So you would still, we could still be into it. There was like toys, trading cards, video games. There was other stuff for you to do with superheroes.
Right.
So I mean, they're just got that popularity.
Good point.
But now it's like they've done them all already for about 10, 20 years. Is it 15 years? They've done them all. And now they're to the point where it's like we're nearing the hard reset. We're start over.
I think they're due.
So I think we're just at that moment where the last big trend is waning in popularity, and it's time to let it go and start anew.
And just try something different.
And that's why Super Mario Brothers is over. No one had ever seen that. And that's can I just be real? It was bad, right? Like, it wasn't good. It was not good.
I wanted it to be way better.
Yeah. It's definitely not gonna will it get nominated for best animated movie? I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably will.
Oh yeah, I think
because from a technical standpoint it's amazing. But you didn't watch that movie and leave energized. And be like, wow, what a great piece of art. It was like that was a movie.
Yeah, you got it done.
You made a Mario Brothers movie.
I guess it had enough of the Remember Barry's nostalgic charm for its again, for its audience.
This is our opinion, and we have skewed opinions.
Yeah.
Okay. The average person, the non-discriminating movie public, went in there and was like, "Wow, this is amazing! Super Mario Brothers as a movie." You know what I mean? Because it made so much money.
You're right.
They went back over and over. It's, like I said, you see that video of Charlemagne the God talking about it. He was like, it was beautiful.
Well, like Anthony said here, it did have a charm that helped carry it through a lot of, like you said, what was lacking in story. It made up for in charm, and I think that helped it.
Oodles of charm.
Yeah.
Oodles of charm. Great visuals.
Good nods to all the games, and that's what everybody wanted.
Like, again, I've said how I wish they didn't do celebrity voiceovers, but this one nailed it with the celebrity voices. Right on the money. You had Donkey Kong. They had Mario Kart in there.
Yeah, they had Mario Kart.
Just
Luigi's Mansion was in there. That was good.
Yeah,
which is popular. But you can't compare it again. If you're talking about what's going to win the Oscars, you can't compare it to Across the Spider-Verse, which probably is going to take it this year for sure. But
it'll take that one, and like I said, I think it could get nominated for best overall picture.
After my second pass for it, I see what you're saying now. It kind of won me over. The emotional stakes without having that sound break, and just FYI, they really did send a fixed version out there, because the first film that I saw compared to the second one were two completely different films.
Yeah.
We didn't have to have the projectionist rewind it, then rewind it too far, and then the sound was still bad, and then it was always a little off. This was a clean version that unable to pull you out of the moment. And then, because you want those emotional stakes to have that gravitas, and if you're cut off where a light turns on, just like they say, that could distract. That's happened big time.
Yeah,
but there was so much. The emotional stakes were there,
and I think the writing is so wonderful.
Yeah,
like the way that they scripted this movie, the way things pay off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The seeds they plant early that pay off later, and I just think it's really saying something. The way it sets up the final twist with Miles, because you've had this, the issue has been his dad, whether or not he can save his dad, right?
Yep.
And that's the main thrust. But it's like when you see the universe where his father died and he turned to crime, it's just like, wow, they're just like saying a lot here. You know,
yeah, that was
really
big.
They're really going hard in the writing.
That's what he's fighting to save, you know, or else that could be kind of his future. Yeah, it was great. I was way more emotionally involved that second time with that undisturbed moment for sure. So, but I don't know if that's going to be like the next wave, you know, of how do they fix the, you know, I don't want to say it, but it's there, the whole superhero fatigue. It's coming up on generations, you know, our generations, right? The Gen X generation. We were introduced to superheroes by comic books, by beautiful cards like this, you know, games, stuff that really led to your imagination. Now you're pulling people to the theater. Like the average Miles Morales fan was introduced to him through the Sony PlayStation game, which had an intricate story already kind of built in there. So now they're expecting a lot more. You're not going against their imagination. You're going against what they already got. So you're not just going to be able to shovel out just any old generic origin story, you know, and that's what Miles Morales didn't do. And this is what I feel like the Flash would have accomplished if it didn't have its other heat. You got to get away from these origin stories. You have to just... This audience, the new audience coming up, are so much more sophisticated because of anime that you have to really the stakes have to be raised. You cannot spoon feed them. They're ready for forks and knives. You can't spoon feed them. Yeah,
I agree. And like if you read comics, if you read comics, not every comic has an origin story in it.
No.
It's like eventually we just have to leave that in the past. I think people already are accustomed to the fact that every hero has an origin story, so they can just jump past it right into the heroing.
Yeah, if you do it in Flash, that's probably the thing that I'm nervous about Blue Beetle the most, is it feels like it's going to be an origin story. It's a cool enough hero that it could be forgiving, but I think you said this before, it felt like a movie that should have kind of come out already. And I think that has a lot to do with what we were trained with origin stories. And I don't know if that's going to work, but I'm still, again, I say that as someone, don't worry, you already have my money.
Yeah.
We're going no matter what.
Right.
But that being said, you have to win over the people that aren't going, you know, and we're still going to be here talking about it. We're going to check out everything. So cool. You want to take a quick break?
Yeah, let's do a quick, let me see if I can get the Incredible Tron to work. All right. BRB, folks.
BRB.
Today, the United States is engaged in a gigantic effort to send men to the moon. For this effort, Pillsbury has developed many special foods. Here is the first one to be made available to the public: Space Food Sticks. To meet the demands of a long space flight, Space Food Sticks had to be a compact, nutritious, high-energy food. That's why they make the perfect between-meal energy snack. Energy for hard play. Energy for hard work. Lasting energy to feel alive. If that sounds better than some of the things your family fills up on between meals, you should try Space Food Sticks for good nutrition and lasting energy in a chewy, tasty snack food. Chocolate, caramel, and peanut butter. About 44 calories. At your grocer's next to the instant breakfast section. Space Food Sticks, the energy snack from U.S. Aerospace Research and Pillsbury.
It's landed. Ideal's new Astro Base has just landed. Look, the space lock is opening. And here comes the astronaut. He's being lowered from the Astro Base into the remote-controlled scout car. The two space probes are being mounted for launching. The car is scanning the area. And there go the space probes. They're calling them back to the Astro Base. Mission accomplished. Ideal's Astro Base and Colonel Macaulay's space helmet are the greatest way to play outer space. You can scan the skies, launch deep space probes, fire rockets, destroy stray meteorites. Ideal's Astrobase is at your favorite toy store. Get your Ideal Astrobase today.
Eldon's new Billy Blastoff. Now he walks.
That's Billy's jet.
The jetpack on Billy's back powers his lunar crawler, runs the space mobile, drives the moon tractor, and makes Billy Blastoff walk. Eldon's Billy Blastoff Space Scout comes with 8 pieces.
There's 8 pieces.
Billy Blastoff. Now he walks.
Now, for every kid who has ever seen a science fiction movie, thrilled to the amazing strength of an out-of-this-world movie monster, comes Great Garloo by Marx. Garloo the Mighty. Garloo the Untamed. Garloo the Terrible. Who can stop him? Who can control this monstrous creature? You can, kids, because Great Garloo by Marx is yours to command. With these battery-operated controls, you can make Garloo go, stop, bend, pick up, turn. Yes, Great Garloo, almost 2 feet tall, will be your faithful servant. You name it, you're the boss. Bring out-of-this-world excitement into your house, kids. Own the most fantastic toy of all. Great Garloo by Marx.
M-A-R-X spells Marx, world's largest toy maker.
Ideal's Robot Commando is here to help you. He's your one-man army. No enemy can destroy him. He fights off tanks, hurls missiles one after another. Even a squadron of planes can't stop him. Robot Commando fires his secret weapon. He takes orders from no one except you.
Forward!
Ideal's Robot Commando is battery-operated to obey your command. Adjust the control, speak into the microphone.
Left! Fire!
Ideal's Robot Commando is here to help you. Look for your Robot Commando. He's looking for you.
The Zeroids are here. From the planet Zero, the Zeroids. Zirak, the Zeroid commander, frees himself from his own Zeroid capsule. Advance! Zobor, the Zeroid transporter. Change his Zeroid capsule into a Cosmobile for hauling. Zintar, the Zeroid explorer, change his Zeroid capsule into a lunar sled. Command the Zeroids to defend. Move forward, backward, and transport. Command the Zeroids from Ideal.
buttons aren't working, but
Let's go.
What's happening?
Bubbles. Bubbles everywhere. Before we jump off our superhero film brain, what did you think about the Kraven the Hunter trailer and poster that dropped today with Aaron Taylor Johnson, with Sony taking another swing at their Spider-Verse?
I texted it to you. LOL is what I thought. All caps with an exclamation point. I think what's going on here, it occurred to me that Sony sort of got lucky by putting out a movie and turning Venom babyface, which is like, I think that's what they're trying to do now with their other properties.
Yeah.
Is just spin out these villains into, what are they called? I don't know.
Anti-heroes.
Anti-heroes.
Yeah.
And trying to dig for gold and see what they can do. I thought the movie looks like I wouldn't see it probably. Not because it's bad. The story itself doesn't seem appealing on its own accord. It's like if at the end of the trailer they're like, I'm going to fight Spider-Man now. I think I might have done that, but...
I don't even know if they're going to mention Spider-Man. And there's pro wrestling went through this. There's only one Stone Cold. Like, you can have the cool heels that you cheer for, but not everybody can be that. And I think they booked the right actor. It was good to see him back in there. Somehow he had 10 abs. Can you have 10 abs? How many abs does the body have?
I think it has over 12.
Because somewhere along the way we upgraded, because you used to talk about the 6-pack.
Yeah.
Then you started seeing people with like 8. Now it's 10. So are we going to get all the way up to 12? But if that picture, which they did a really good job replicating that very famous picture of Kraven the Hunter that everybody knows when he's kind of sitting back and you saw his 10 abs there. So they booked the right actor, but this could Morbius real quick. And I was shooting on Sony a couple of weeks ago on the show because they make me nervous. They make me really nervous.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know.
I just think their film division needs some help.
Yeah.
They're killing it in the cartoon division, Sony Animation. Yeah. But again, it's like they have this giant universe. They got lucky with Venom, and it's still kind of going. So they're trying to hit that gold again. I don't know. Nothing really seems here appealing. And the thing is, I don't think this has any intention of appealing to us. We're not the demographic.
Yeah.
It's the average moviegoer. Can they convince them with this story of a hunter who bites people's noses off?
He did bite his nose.
That's in the trailer? That seemed awkward.
He's a heel, but it made it really rough that, clearly Russell Crowe, his dad, was a heel. So I don't know if they're going to say but that was the whole thing, right? The whole Darth Vader gimmick of every journey has a first step.
Yeah.
And they're going to do that, but man, I just don't know if it's going to, again, I'm really nervous.
It's going to be bad. You don't have to be nervous. Let me assure you right now, it's going to be bad. You're not going to enjoy it. I probably won't go see it. I just wait till it hits stars or something. You're going to go see it at the Thursday show.
Yeah.
First early show. The crowd will be dead. It'll be unenjoyable. And, and that'll be it. That'll be the end of the Kraven movie.
That is to tell that when you get those hardcore fans and you see if they pop, they did not pop in Multiverse, and it hasn't felt the same since.
Yeah,
I just feel like we've been reeling ever since. So I'm nervous about that, but we'll see. 10 abs, who knew? The other trailer that dropped was Squid Games 2. What did you think of that one? Did you get?
I actually didn't get to see that one.
You didn't see it?
No. What happens in that one?
It's an intro to characters trailer. They don't show any story.
So we've got new competitors.
Yeah. So they showed the ones from the previous season. They gave a little bit of a spoiler of one who you didn't think did survive, and then they showed the new ones. But they were all more like telenovela. They were just making very ominous faces when they showed them in their names.
Yeah.
So you don't really know what to expect. They just press green that they're ready to play. But that just took the world by storm, man. Like, holy smokes. Like, it was just Squid Game fever everywhere.
It's an excellent show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. It was good. It was revolutionary.
I loved it. Yeah, I was very late to the game, and I loved it. And I'm still wanting more. Do you watch Physical 100 on Netflix?
I have not watched that yet.
I'm on the last
As soon as
episode.
they end the DVD shipping, I'm going to convert my Netflix account over to a streaming account, and I'll be able to catch up on some of those shows.
Oh, that's right. You converted to what's on the docket? What do you have served up? Is it three discs at a time?
3
still?
discs at a time. Right now, I still have The Ruins, which Rainbow Fright suggested to watch. I was going to watch it up in the screening room at some point. I've got, because of Treat Williams just died, rest in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P.
I've got Deep Rising. Have you ever seen Deep Rising?
I don't think I did.
That's one you should. It's a blast. Check it out.
All right.
It's Deep Rising is like a movie that was supposed to be for Harrison Ford, but he backed out. So instead of Harrison Ford, you get Treat Williams, and it was supposed to have $50 million, but because you don't have Harrison Ford, you have Treat Williams. You have like $10 million, and they still do it. No sell, and they go, and that's not bad. It's fun.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of his other.
Oh, and I have Decision to Leave, which I haven't watched yet.
Oh, okay. What is his other? He was in Hair.
There's a lot of things, yeah.
I was trying to think what was. I do remember him in The Phantom, Once Upon a Time in America. He was in that. Deep Rising. Dead Heat. I knew he was in a Heat movie.
He was
I
in
couldn't
Dead
remember what the movie
Not
was.
Red Heat, Dead
yes,
Heat.
Not Red Heat, Dead Heat. Yeah, R.I.P. Treat Williams. Just speaking of Netflix, let's stay in that. I can't tell you that I even texted our buddy Mike that a lot of people feel like they're blessed to be alive at a time that there's new Star Wars content and comic book movies galore, but I never sleep on that we have a modern day Twilight Zone that people are going to be talking about for years to come. For me, anyway, is Black Mirror.
The Black Mirror.
The Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's back.
It's back, and it's back heavy so much that I decided to not binge. I decided to watch one a night like it's a film, and I've only been back a few days. I wanted to watch it, in my mood light, my ambient lighting. I wanted to watch it on my flatty and not watch it on the plane or on an iPad. So I'm only 2 episodes in, but you're 1 episode in. Joan is awful, and I loved it. I thought it was great. When they first started doing it, I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing here. But then it took that twist that I did not expect. Did you see that twist coming?
No, I mean, I had no idea where it was going. I kind of wish by the time I saw this was my only problem with it, is when the twist happened, we only had 10 more minutes of show. I would have loved to see another hour of this.
I agree. They squeezed all that in with the Michael Cera cameo. And then all of a sudden, they just felt like they fast forward to everything that they had to do, where they could have done less of the Joan is awful and really get to that point where just like, wow, she's just like, that's playing with simulation series, right? And when you find out that you're not the prime reality, that you're somewhere in the middle. So I did not expect her to not be original Joan, like at all. And then that caught me off guard. Did you recognize that actress? I didn't know that actress.
Annie Murphy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Annie Murphy. She was in Schitt's Creek.
Schitt's Creek, that's where they booked her.
She was in a show that I really liked. It only got like a season and a half, but it's called Kevin Can Fuck Himself.
She was in.
Yeah,
I remember that show.
She's the lead in that. And it's a fun show. I like it a lot.
I thought that was great. I had no idea. I did not see that coming. And yeah, I just really had a lot of fun with that, and I like that Netflix is kind of in on the gimmick. I'm surprised that Netflix didn't just say screw it, say Netflix, and not call it Streamberry. Like, what's the story behind Streamberry? Any ideas? I haven't read anything.
Well, I mean, big, huge, successful, multi-billion-dollar businesses are very protective of their brand. They're not just going to put it out there. And I'm sure something like that would require a lot of backing, not just like Joe Netflix in his office and be like, I think that's a great idea. let's just smash our entire business model and have people freaking out reading the terms of service of Netflix.
That's what I was worried, because the brand came off as a heel a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That it was just AI during a writer's strike. They're talking about AI is just generating this show by the second, and it's specific to you. But then you can watch other people's blank is awful, right? There would be a Jeff is awful, Mario is awful. Like everybody got their own is awful show, but you can watch other people's shows. So then when you go through, like, oh, I want to see what makes this person awful. Like when you start looking for your friends, and just they played on that everybody's paranoia. I was just talking about hemorrhoid cream, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all these hemorrhoid cream ads. They played on that. Everybody does it. And they kind of like explained that away. But man, right out of the gate, I was like, okay, this is what I signed up for. They let Netflix let them keep the dumb, right? But they just didn't let them keep their actually brand. And I liked the cameos were strong. Like, well, I wouldn't call them like Salma Hayek. I wouldn't call that a cameo. I mean, she was definitely a co-star in there.
She was the co-lead.
Yeah. But Michael Cera in there, when I saw it, and then he was just kind of like no selling. It's like he sold his image there. And again, that's another thing that you and I have been talking about a lot lately, of just people selling their likenesses, images, and voices. But now, are they going to get to the point where they don't even need to sign that away if you accept the terms and condition and just AI is going to generate it for you?
It could be. I mean, it's funny that this came out at this time, because I was just thinking about not a premise like this, but imagine a piece of content that would on Netflix, not that it would be about you, but be actually you in the show.
Yeah.
Like it just pulls you into the Sopranos and it makes you one of the characters. Like you're Paulie. They replace Paulie with you, and you do all, and you get to watch it like that and be part of it. Do something, but it's just it's. I told you, like, as far as AI goes, I've just been noticing it creeping into things. But like it very specifically was, in a lot of the YouTube content that I watch a lot of movie documentaries and like theories. I was watching one about Ghostbusters movies that never happened. You know what I mean? There was, because multiple scripts before it ever got the remake.
Oh yeah.
So I was watching that, and it just stood out to me that this what they were doing, they were rendering images from the script into AI photos. So you're seeing the image from the script that they're talking about.
Oh.
So in one version of an early Ghostbusters movie that never got made, we were going to have a Chris Farley be a Ghostbuster, join the team. And they had it rendered out with Chris Farley as a Ghostbuster.
What?
Yeah, maybe if I find that. So they can do that. And there was another one video that I watched where they were talking about the late night wars between Jay Leno and Letterman. And they were talking about the stories about Jay Leno hid in a closet to listen on an NBC meeting. They're rendering out the photos of this. So it's just like they're actually creating visuals that we could not have ourselves. Like you could. That's crazy to me.
Where you're talking about earlier, where if you needed to insert yourself, what would you do? You'd shoot somebody wearing an all green bodysuit, and then you'd find a way to upload the voice and image and then just read the lines. But now with AI, you don't even need to do that. They're literally just going to render and it's just going to create it itself. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like entertainment is changing more than people were worried about VCRs changing things for the movies. I think now more than ever, I have no idea what the hell's going to happen.
You don't even have to tape your shows now. They just re-render you a show. Yeah. Personalized for you.
That's terrifying to think, but we're not that far off. So I'm not surprised that Black Mirror found a way to take what you're thinking and create an episode about that.
Yeah.
In episode 1. You're in for a different treat for 2. Well, no spoilers here at all. This second one that came up is probably the least tech involved, but then it does involve tech. I will tell you it involves retro tech, but it feels more just like a horror movie mystery. and then they start getting into everybody's obsession with true crime. So I wouldn't say it's like straight up tech like we've been getting a lot of like new tech. This gets into retro tech and people's obsession with true crime.
Yeah.
And it feels more like a straight horror movie slasher than any of the Black Mirrors I saw before. I thought it was fine. I didn't dislike it. I just enjoy the tech part of it so much more. But I still did enjoy it. So you're in for a treat. I'm gonna watch the one tonight with what's his name, Aaron Johnson.
Aaron Taylor Johnson?
No, the other Aaron from Breaking Bad.
Oh, Aaron Paul.
Yeah, Aaron Paul.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to after the show. I'm probably gonna throw him back on. I'll watch him by next week. We'll do a proper.
Yeah, we'll do a full
proper
one.
spot next week.
Warn you, the Aaron Paul one is an hour and 49 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're all cinematic level, but man, I'm just excited. Like I haven't felt like that. You feel like this when a new movie's coming out. I haven't felt like this for a Netflix drop in a long time. That I'm like, no, I need everything to be perfect. I need everybody to be asleep. I need my lights. I need my couch. I need my TV. I just want to be in it. I just want to be immersed in it.
Yeah.
So that's the closest you can get to like a theatrical feeling at home. So yeah, I'm excited for you to. So yeah, we'll talk more about it next week. But let's stay on the theatrical at home feeling. I know you didn't fully watch it, but we don't have to say too much about it. Was last night we got our Joe Bob mini episode.
Oh, The Walking Dead.
Of The Walking Dead, Dead City.
Dead City.
Yeah, and we don't have to talk about the show because I know you didn't watch it, but I can tell you that it is Escape from New York with zombies.
I like the sound of that.
That's the feel I wanted to get, and that's what I was hoping they did, and they got it right out of the gate. It feels exactly like that. What I'm excited about, and we can just talk about this generically, is we got The Walking Dead, Dead City. At the end of The Walking Dead, Dead City, you got the trailer for The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon. And then in A Fear the Walking Dead, which I didn't watch, but I did read, they started hinting to The Walking Dead, Rick and Michonne.
Right.
And what's great about these, which I think this is going to bring back, it's never going to bring it back to that prime because I think that's impossible, but it's going to bring it back really close, is these all are limited 6-episode series that feel like they're committing to movies. They're committing to making these 6-hour movies a contained trilogy that is not going to be released in theater. But I can tell you, if I saw Dead City in theaters, even just this first part, I would not have been disappointed if it was just a movie that I walked into called Dead City.
Yeah.
So,
it's good. I mean, I think zombies still have a lot of legs.
They do.
People are not going to get burnt out because I think that zombies have transcended sort of just being a horror gimmick, and it's a genre in the way that, like, space movies are a genre.
Yeah.
A space show. This is a zombie show because it's just become that type. Because I don't equate it with horror anymore. I feel like it's science fiction.
Yeah,
it's always a war. It's a world of, science gone amok.
Yeah, that's exactly how it. I think you're 100% right. A weird biological science fiction movie more than horror, because the horror is different again. Remember all the factions and stuff that they had in Escape New York?
Sure.
This it feels more natural than the factions that you were getting in, the backwoods of Georgia. It's like, I feel like that's what was starting to get stale and tired and played. I think putting these very strong actors, great actors and strong characters in the same universe but in different scenarios, I think you're in. So you have, Negan and Maggie in Manhattan. You're going to get Daryl Dixon in France, and then Rick and Michonne. You don't know where you're going to get them, but they're going to be in a different location. I feel like this is the closest you can get to a Walking Dead what if. What if Daryl Dixon, the trailer shows him, they just show the bottom of the ocean and then they come up and then he's just floating on an upside down lifeboat. And then it just said walking. So you now you realize, how did he, in a zombie apocalypse, how does he get to France? So clearly he was on some kind of boat, and now the show is all going to be about how the hell did he get to France? I was like, that's great. You're going to answer what everybody's question was.
Yeah.
How did he get to France? Now you're going to have the character figuring out how he's going to get to France. And you're going to get Daryl Dixon there, which I think is great. So
I think I could get back into it. I think I could see myself coming back to The Walking Dead. If Joe Bob's got given it the seal of approval, especially.
Dude, that was great. I was telling you about that earlier. It was so cool to like watch it like we're watching the last drive-in drops, where instead of getting the commercials, we're getting Joe Bob talking about zombies.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. It was very cool. Leading up to this Friday is the return of the last drive-in.
Oh, is that this Friday?
Yeah, that's this Friday. So it was very cool that they dropped it there. I'm just happy that AMC and Shudder, whoever owns the parent company that owns them, is giving them the proper respect that they deserve for how strong of an influence they have on this audience. Because he was like, this is just going to be for our cable audience, but if you ever want to get the extended version of these, come slum it with us in streaming. Like he was calling it out that he's like, right now we're on streaming, so Darcy, we can't say our regular jokes. So it's like, wow, what a great pull. He knows how to do a pre-show better than wrestling does. Mm-hmm. He's like, if you want to really see more stuff, you got to come over and watch us in the streaming. So that was fun. And just getting him to explain anything just makes the content that you're watching better. So to me, I feel like that did make Dead City feel even more important. It's the most excited that I've been for Walking Dead in a long time.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out when it hits on Thursday.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, watch
nice
it.
Nice little pre-show to the Joe Bob return.
For sure. Like I was going to tell you, because I recorded it so I can watch it on YouTube TV as well, and then I went and watched afterwards, and I realized that it was a better experience watching with Joe Bob. It just made it feel more special. So that'll drop Friday. So good stuff. Let's end it. You want to end it awkwardly with talking about the movie we just saw and how we don't really know necessarily how to review it. We could talk about it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
We could just give it the plug. We went and saw The Blackening, and it was funny. Yeah. It was very cool to see a comedy back in theaters, and that's why I was bound and determined with not fatigue isn't the right word, but I've been on an emotional roller coaster with all these big movie drops in the summer.
Yeah.
And like you said, dude, we've been going to the movies like every week, and it's been like all these big drops. I just want to, we talked about this. I just wanted to see a comedy in the theaters again.
Yeah.
And this is the closest.
I can't think of the last time I saw a comedy in the theater.
Yeah. And it was just so fun to actually be laughing out loud with people in the theater. Even though we're kind of looking around, because clearly the Blackening, the way is created, like it could make you feel very awkward if you're with the wrong audience. Like you don't know what to do. Like I think we're all a little bit like sizzled for modern day society of just like, is this okay? Which is why comedy is struggling, because everybody's looking around like, is this okay?
Yeah.
Like, is this okay? And that makes comedy hard.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of laugh out loud moments.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It's really just hilariously written, well directed. Performances are great. It's got nobody huge that I could call out in there. There's a lot of smaller names there, but just man, it was hilarious. Laugh out loud, hilarious.
I thought the visuals, like it looked way better than a $5 million movie. I was surprised that it only cost $5 million, because we've seen low budget. We've seen movies that they've only had $5 or $10 million, and it looks like they did.
Right.
But I didn't see this, like you as a director, I didn't see any of the seams here. Did you?
No. I mean, it was well executed. I mean, they utilized their budget well. It looks good. It's a solid movie. Usually that extra budget that you anticipate goes into paying name actors to be in these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They had a lot of up and comers, so they were able to save on that.
All great. They had no dud characters in this at all.
No, it's great.
You think about it, like there's how many people were in this movie? It was 10 total. Like we had six or seven on the main screen. We had 2, and then we had 3 others. The quote unquote slasher.
Yeah.
And then we had the one fake out in there. So there's 10.
That saves a lot of money as well.
That saved a ton of money. You didn't have a lot of locations.
Yeah.
They did the cabin in the woods feel, but it felt like a higher end Cabin in the Woods movie.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Everything looked great. It was really funny. I was going to ask you, I got to ask you a technical question, and then maybe we can end it on that. When they were showing the iPhone and they had your pet peeve, right? They had technology and it makes horror very difficult, and they literally eliminated it with a switch, right? They turned it into a Faraday cage, so now technology didn't matter. But when they held the flashlight up, why did the light go all the way across the screen? Anytime that was that a style choice, or is that something
that's a style choice? They're trying to so like they're trying to emulate like if you watch like an 80s horror movie or something like that, it's shot with anamorphic lenses.
Oh, yeah.
The light glares goes like that. It's very long across the screen. That was obviously like digitally added. I don't think that movie was shot in anamorphic. It did not look like it at all. But yeah, that was just a call out to that.
Okay.
That's what I think it was. That's my opinion. But
it looked like that. And anytime a character walked in front of the light cut off. But then when the character moved in, the light went, all of a sudden the flashlight of the phone went all the way across the screen.
Yeah.
And I was like, are they trying to like light an excuse way to light every part of the scene? I couldn't tell. So I meant to ask you that, technology wise, and I wasn't sure.
Yeah, they're just emulating the look of an anamorphic lens.
Cool.
Let me see if I can find an image, if I can find one. But
I feel like I know what you're talking about, where the flashlight, but the light was always shooting like towards, like it actually did get used as like a gimmick to make it feel like you were in the dark.
Right.
But it was in a smaller. It already made its money back. And these are the movies we need more of. Like,
for sure.
Hollywood being in so much trouble, they kind of got themselves into this trouble by just doubling down, and just like going for all these like budgets of like $200 million. Like, that wasn't that the rumored budget for Flash when it was all said and done? Like $200 million.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And we were just in a movie that cost $5 million. And people were having a blast.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of empty seats. It was a smaller screen.
Had a lot more fun in that than the last few really big movies I've seen.
That's what I was telling you. I was like, I want to go see that Jennifer Lawrence one. You know, the comedy she's in. We saw a high school comedy. When was the last time we've seen a high school comedy that's coming out where it's just like these female students are about to start a fight club with that football player?
Right.
I was just like, oh, this is cool.
Is comedy getting a little bit of a comeback?
Man, I can tell you the whole world needs a laugh right now.
I would agree with that. Let's hope that it can happen.
The world needs a laugh. You know, but this was very specific, obviously, by the title, you know, that is the Blackening. So you kind of knew what you're getting into. And I noticed in the trailer, Seth Rogen is going to be making an Asian comedy, which also looked really funny.
Which one?
The Seth Rogen one. It was called Bottoms. I think it was called Bottoms.
Oh, I missed it.
You don't watch that trailer with the? It ended when they had to try to get through security, and they were mimicking a K-pop band.
Oh, wasn't that called Joyride?
Joyride. Oh, the other one the high school one was called Bottoms. Maybe.
Oh, the high school one was called Bottoms.
Yeah, Bottoms. Okay. Joyride. Yeah, that was it. So that was going to be an Asian comedy. I was like, here we go, man. I was like, I just want comedy. Like we need to be able to laugh at ourselves again.
I agree.
Like we shouldn't have to be looking around. It's like, should we be laughing? Because there was a lot of pops in here, and there's nothing better. Like if you're in a horror movie and people are screaming and getting the jump scares, which was one of the tropes that they were playing with in this, but then just being in a comedy and people laughing.
This felt like I would. It reminded me a lot of the last horror movie that I thought was pretty innovative. It was pretty much felt very similar. It was Bodies.
Yes. It had that same vibe.
That same vibe, and this one had a little more comedy. But yeah, I highly recommend it to anyone to catch it. Unfortunately, it'll probably be in streaming in a week.
I know, that's what I was afraid of. Yeah, Anthony, we don't know the name of the title. Well, we think it's called Joyride. Let's just Google it really quick. It was said from the producers of Crazy Rich Asians is what I saw, but I noticed Seth. Yeah, Anthony, it's called Joyride. Directed by Adelie Lim. But I did notice that Seth Rogen was a producer on that, which I thought he would have been a producer on the other one. What was it called? Was it called Bottoms? Yep, Bottoms. Good stuff, man. Well, the world, Twitter made this world just too serious. Everybody's looking for a fight. How about we go out there and look for a laugh? Let's end on that.
I could get behind that.
Yeah, let's go look for a laugh. So that was good stuff, man. It was good. I needed it, man. Like I said, we were talking earlier. It was a rough week for both of us.
Yeah.
So it's nice to just go. Not really have any expectations. It's a comedy. Let's just go watch a movie and just go laugh. Mission accomplished.
And it totally worked. Great. Highly recommend. Like, it's not just, oh, I needed a comedy and I saw one. Yeah. This is really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Really smart.
It's really, it did what it needed to do. We're going to see we're going to be going to see, we're going to be laughing in Mad Heidi on Wednesday, but laughing for the wrong reasons. That'll be more expectation. I'm just talking about like legit, tell a joke, go for the pop, and make people laugh. So good job. Good way to start the week. So Monday night, Dos Incredibles After Dark is a wrap. So we will see you. We'll be back next week.
Next week.
All right, later.